Hello. How everybody doing on this lovely day? Hey. All right. Do you care about yourself, kid? Yes. And, we care about our self-care so much that we just had, as a recap, just to bring back for those that do know, we just had our Black Tie Recovery Gala, our third annual Black Tie Recovery Gala. Yes, it went off with a bang. It was beautiful. It was full of energy. It was full of a lot of people who care about others people's self-cares other than just their own. And a lot of establishments had brought their their award participants that we was giving awards to for achievements in the city of Paterson. That these individuals, I wish I had all of their names. For Tier 1, we're going to shout out for our busiest man in the building, Ronald Joseph. Yes, he also got an award for us. He's not here right now. He outside. He on tour. But yes, like being that we're acknowledging other people and just people in general, we're a community because that's what this podcast is about. Community awareness for October, closing it out, coming together, being a village, being the chief, or just being one of the Indians to the chief of the village. So I'm gonna read this little briefing that we have for the podcast. What is community awareness, and why is it important? The knowledge and understanding of community, social, culture, and political norms, as well as the ability to perceive and act on potential issues. It's important because it helps people understand their community strengths and issues, which can lead to informed discussions and civic actions. Simple examples of awareness of local government and history: being aware of current issues, understanding how to keep up with important issues, community resources and needs, and nonprofits. And being in your community, you have to know these things because it may not necessarily be you that need it, but the next person next to you or the person that comes into your town, forbid that their situation is oncoming, they may need the resources that you know. And knowing them makes you a reliable person, someone worth turning to, someone worth leaning on and depending on in the community. Because it's important to be important to your community. So with our first question, what is something that you grew up with in the community that no longer exists today for the community, and tell us, what did it do for you?
Hello. Hi, my name is Erica. So I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up on Pendle. And everybody, I could go outside and whatever I did, whether it was good or bad, it got relayed back to my family, my grandmother, who raised me. So I think that there was a sense of community because when I went outside, I couldn't just do anything I wanted to do because there was going to be phone calls made. I was going to get beat when I came to the door. Like there was things. So I think the biggest thing that I see over here is not enough community. Like you can't talk to somebody else's child when they're doing something wrong because their parents going to curse you out or fight with you. So to me, the biggest difference is just the lack of community. That I felt safe. I could come outside. I was outside from sun up till sundown, and I was.
They weren't safe.
Huh? You sure you was out there sun up to sundown or sun up to lights on?
Street lights to the street lights. To the street lights. To the street lights.
Mama and Daddy said them lights.
One time I stayed out past the street lights, but I never did that again.
Oh, that's right.
So that's what I wish we had over here in Paterson. I don't know if it's still. I know it can't be like that.
It should be nationwide.
It can't be like that. But I think that was the biggest thing is that you could let your kids out. I wasn't even thought about. I'm sure my grandma didn't check on. Like she knew I was safe because I'm being watched by everybody. So that's the biggest thing is the lack of community.
Thank you.
So something that you grew up with in the community.
Yes.
That is no longer there.
Yes.
And you're saying that something I grew up with in the community that was good for me
Yes.
that I missed? Because you didn't say that.
Yes. Or did you miss it? Did you miss it, Doctor?
You got anyone talking now?
I don't have nothing.
Okay.
I'm keeping that in the podcast.
Okay. For me, well, I grew up down south, so it was kind of tight down there. They didn't want you to do anything at all, so so that's the respect that we had to give them back. That whatever they say, that would have to go. So right now, in today's time, most kids they don't respect you at all. They say anything, they do anything, and their parents a lot of times uphold them in some of the stuff that they do. So that's one thing that like I learned whenever I was growing up.
And Lois, it should be somewhere. We're gonna get to you. It should be somewhere, like a thin line between the community allowing certain parents that we know that have a child, not bashing no one, not singling no one out, but if the shoe fits, if you get mad, hey, fix yourself. So like when the child is getting out of hand and the community is coming together towards to the parent and to address the situation, the parents shouldn't really be upset. With the community, they should be upset with their conduct of raising their child and their child's conduct of being outside. And you as the parent should correct that. I'm not saying you got to beat your child in front of me, but you got to do something. You have to correct what it is that you're bringing as your product, because they came out of you. That's your stock. You have to correct that, or the community will correct it. If you don't want the community to do it, you do it. Because if you don't do it, someone will.
Passionella here. I grew up in Paterson since 1978. Grew up on 11th and 26th, between 26 and 27. Back then, we could leave our doors open, go out, go play outside. No one bothered you. There were all these cameras all over the place, watching everything, and it was a beautiful time to grow up in Paterson back in the 70s and the 80s.
Do you think that some of that charisma of doors being left open? I mean, we know why some of them. Some people will keep their doors closed because if you was walking by a door, I'm pretty sure we was all told this. Did somebody call your name to look in there? Do you know who's in there? Like you see somebody house window open, somebody sitting there. Why would you want to look in there? Nobody called your name. Nothing's in there for you. Some people will look in there and be a little nosy or impolite and not speak. So, or to an extent of someone just walking in your house, leaving your doors open, it's become unsafe in communities. But I feel what you're saying as far as leaving doors open. We should at least have some kind of security in ourselves and in our surroundings of our neighborhood to leave our door open, even with the door open, to still at least have some kind of privacy.
Community awareness around respect for funerals, and when a hearse would drive by, we know that there would be several other cars behind it, and normally folks would let the whole caravan go through before the day, and you don't see that. People would be cutting right through, or people would even like down south, men would take their hats off. And folks would just stop in reverence as they went by. So like little family courtesies, I would call them, of respect. And definitely there wasn't a whole lot of cussing and drinking and carrying on the church steps. But now, some homeless people have made it their house. And I ain't saying that I'm mad at them because, people need a place to stay. But I'm just saying those little... there's some community awareness around those concerns.
And this day and time, you don't see kids playing like double dutch, hopscotch,
made up games.
You know what I'm saying? Just being a kid, and not want to do grown-up games like they do today.
Get rid of that. They're playing hop phone. Hop phone. I'm hop from one phone to the next.
Games. Stay in the house on their games.
So remind us the topic again.
The topic is community awareness.
The whole thing, I would say things changed from wedlock. Back in the days, you couldn't have a child without you getting married and you're uniformed and that. Those things break from then. That's the reason why we have junk babies, oops babies, that ass is fat babies. A lot of things that, I got you, man. I like that swag. Those babies now. How can things change? The rules already break. So
She said, oops, baby. Oops.
I didn't know that was coming out.
Didn't know that was coming out.
I'm kind of tied up my little point what I see overall. I talk like I'm 100 years old. What I see with kids, the community, you alone can grow your kids, the whole community grow your kids.
That's
You would
right.
say you're a father, you could be a million fathers, it's called community. You can see your child every minute and second of the day. You get me? Now I'm gonna cut it fast. These children, they have no respect. Why would I have respect? I don't even see my father. My mother don't even show me love. What am I don't even know the universe. A little young man this morning. What am I doing? I'm even tired. They would say I'm even tired of life itself because I don't know what it's all about. What is it? So these children, they're out of wedlock, they're out of line, they're out all their is the technology of the world. You're running with that.
Yes. Thank you. I have another question. Jumping. It does. Okay.
And also, you know, like back in the days, you know, when we used to go to school, the principal would beat us and the teacher would beat us. And we couldn't say a thing because when we get back home, we gonna get another beating because we went away acting up in school. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that changed. Now they just let the kids do whatever they want to do in school and they pass them with all F's
No child left
to the
behind.
next grade.
I'll take Kyle and then I'll go to the next question. I'll take Kyle and then I'll get to the next question.
Yes, there's something that changed from like the early 80s or the middle 80s. My grandmother always had taught me, you know, as well as the rest of her grandchildren. And I've been knowing this since the 80s, early 80s, that whenever you go into someone else's apartment or home or your own home, to always take off your hat. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of changed for me, you know, like, that's how I am now. If I have on a hat, for the most part, I don't. But if I'm going to somebody else's, certain places, I'm able to keep the hat on. You know, like if I go in the supermarket, you know, I ain't going to take the hat off there. But my grandmother always taught me, you know, that has changed. Like when you go into someone else's place, to take your hat off.
Yes.
But sometimes people don't do that. You know, going to somebody else's house or apartment, they keep their hat on.
And I actually,
Even in the courthouse, you're not supposed to wear a hat. But I found loopholes. My last, I don't want to go through it again, but things happen. As far as like going to court, I went to court and I didn't have my hair right. and I had a wrap, and I was going in. I'm like, Lord, I don't want this judge to tell me to take this off, and I'm all disheveled in court. And so I looked online, and I found out if you tell them that you're a judo Christian, you don't have to take your hat off. Okay. Like you don't. As soon as you say anything dealing with religion, they'll leave you completely alone. Actually, yes. So people was in the building like, how come he keep his hat on? Mind your business. Oh, we have one more person that wanted to answer. I know I said I'll take mine. I'll take Brother Bobby.
And I think everybody.
Stop recording. Hold on, Bobby. It's not recording.
Concept. And there was
It's not recording. It got a blink.
A hazel.
Red light.
Every community had a hazel. That sat on the porch. And she was like the neighborhood monitor, right? She know everybody's parents, and she had the authority.
Oh, Big Mama.
Big Mama, there you go. To chastise you.
Yes.
And Big Mama she was the glue to the community because you know what? You was told if you disrespected Big Mama, you had a problem, right? And not only that, the community got on you for disrespecting Big Mama, you know? And it was some sense of reverence back there. And Dr. Moody kind of touched on it. You know, we never smoked on the church ground. You see people there's urinating on the church steps these days. We never did stuff like that.
Somebody kissed that statue over in New York and then cut the hand off.
Right.
Of Jesus.
Right. So, I mean, it's those type of things that's changing. I remember, like my mom just always say, you know, don't be going out people's house and then eating. And I will go by everybody's house because you know what? I would be hungry, but they would feed you. You know what I'm saying? And just don't have that kind of connections no more with the community. Whereas, you know what? You was home everywhere you went.
That's right.
And we just don't have that no more. You felt safe everywhere you went. And a lot of times, you know, and I'm going to say this in closing, the kids today don't even go out.
They don't go out.
They stay and play video games.
The glass community, they call them the glass. And I would also add that
Put him on the camera.
Big Mama,
Put him on the camera.
and even when they had their little parties, everybody would go to the parties, and they would pretty much be kept in order. And but slowly but surely, that whole thing changed. And I think with the drugs, it just people stopped going out and all that kind of stuff. So Martika was getting to that point. She was just saying times change, people changed, the values started changing in the community. Big Mama started selling crack.
You got that right.
She had to make
in
ends meet
the community, it's Big Mama.
Also, Big Mama started drinking holes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What did they say in Harlem Night? Remember in Harlem Night?
Yeah,
She said, all my hoes is honest.
Yeah.
That money, that's that money.
Award winner for the last week speak, Brother Ronald.
That first question, like, cause I was raised, you know, in the church, and also as I got older, I started. He's right there, out there. I've been raised around like a lot of drugs and stuff like that, and everything, and that's when I started, and then I stopped because of the fact that I was singing at my friend's, my best friend's funeral and doing all that. And I just thank God because now He gave me a second chance because of the fact that I lost everything, and now He gave me back everything. Now that I don't even think that poverty mentality is out of my system. I can say that, and that's one thing that while she was here, Reverend Stokes said to us, you know, if you got that poverty thinking, you're gonna stay there. So I just thank God that I can say that. I can say that I don't even think about selling drugs no more. And seeing that, you know, I still have relatives out there, they seeing that what I'm doing, how God worked in my life from down south into now. Yesterday, my cousin came over there at Washington Street. He said, "Cuz, I came over here to tell you that we are proud of you and the family." That makes me feel good.
And I'm glad we got to that point of transitioning within the community. I have question number 2 on that topic. We've all heard the phrase, "I was raised by a village." So who are you in the village today?
I'm a lion.
Yeah, all right.
So you eat all the children?
What? In other words, for me, my position that I remember that I was in, I was a skebat, I was a student. You know, I was learning what was being taught to me by the community that was before me. So now that I've grown, I'm an uncle. I'm an uncle to many kids, and I'm an inspiration to a lot of others. So my role from being a skebat is still the same because it's a teacher and a student. Now I'm taking more on the role of a teacher because I'm teaching my nephews etiquette of being a man, taking care of yourself, cleaning yourself, self-care. and my nieces, I'm showing them the etiquettes of what a man would do for his family and not just his friends or someone that's significant to him specifically. My role has become such a dynamic and such a rooted part of me, of who I am and my character, that when I think of the community, I think of being what it was that I did not fully see, so that this way for them I can be. That's what changed for me, of my position in the community. So I'll re-ask the question if anyone wants to answer. We've all heard the phrase, I was raised by a village. So who are you in the village today? Yes. Yes.
What you lying about?
You can't leave that line in.
Stop lying. About being here.
I remember at the gala, the guy would go, boom.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Nella. In the like I said, I was raised in this community. So when I got older and I finished Montclair State University, I wanted to give back to the community. So I started substitute teaching. I never wanted to be a teacher because to me the teachers follow a curriculum and they don't really deal with the students one-on-one, and they just go by bookwork. So I wanted to be more than that to the students, so I started teaching special needs kids, BD, kids behavioral disorder, LLD, lower level disability, and I enjoy doing that type of stuff. So for me, I still see my students. They recognize me. I don't recognize them sometimes because they grow up. So they're like, "Hey, Miss Pat, don't you remember me from school 20, school 10, school this?" And I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know. So I just enjoy
They be running.
Man, I bet it would be something. You know, you seen this kid that's like probably like 6 years old, 7 years old. You was working with 10 years later. They 17, talking. You don't get about my face. I don't know you. How you know my name? Why you saying it like that? You better go get your mama. The devil's a lie. Yeah. You remember it was my birthday? You wasn't there that day. You ain't give me no gift. All right. And on to our last question. As always, it's a calling question. Whose was it? And I love this question. We got this question from Bobby. It actually hit home for me because it actually made me think even more broader. I wish this was the. All right. Why is it important to have police officers from our town and our community?
I can answer that. Because grassroots, like I grew up in Paterson. I lived in Wayne for 18 years. Still, I came back to Paterson to teach because that's my hometown. When it's your hometown, you care more about that town. Yes. You know the people. You care more about the people. Say you're a police officer. You see somebody, you probably will have discernment. You probably won't lock them up the first time. You say, you know, give them a pass, or you're more reluctant to just jail them and everything like that. You know, so many of our people of color in jail for wrong reasons and stuff like that because the police don't know the community because they're not from the community.
Yes.
And I think it speaks to community engagement, which is a critical piece now with policing. We've had some policing sessions with Lieutenant Sharon Easton from the community, and people from the community, like Nella said, normally will care for that community. And more importantly, people in the community will recognize and identify with that person that looks like them.
That's right.
So,
And I'm sorry, I could also say, because me and the police, y'all know, I had a problem with them, but when I came here, joined the ORT team, I got along with them. Because of the fact that, you know, Dr. Moody like he said, you know, they're not all bad police out there. And they're there to protect, and ever since then, I was on ORT. They are here for the community. They are here. And I get along with them now. I call them, they got my number. Detective got my number on speed dial. So thanks to Dr. Moody and his leadership, you know, that he really knows. I'm speaking for myself. He really knows how to give you that extra push. He gives me that extra push, and look where it got me. And I'm partying with the police. I asked them they donate to my organization, thanks to the courage that Dr. Moody said no. You know, they don't like that.
that's awesome.
Just to dive a little deeper into that question, because I have a question before we go. Like being that we're talking about having grassroots officers here in our town, from our town, policing our streets, and the fact that we also have officers who aren't from our town policing our streets. Just looking at it from their perspective, not taking no side, but just taking in another person's point of view. I believe some of the tension of why they are the way that they are is, of course, they're not from this town, and also the stigmatism upon the areas in Paterson, the ward, certain wards. You know, when you go to this ward, you're going to be dealing with this type of situation, or when you go to this ward, this is a drug infestation, and over here in this ward, it might be a homeless infestation. You know, so they're dealing with different psychological surroundings and areas. Not saying that it's right that they have those isms towards the individuals that are in those areas, but having someone who's from the area, those isms drop. You know, it drops significantly because the individual that is policing here knows how to actually communicate with those people and get them to move. Know how to communicate with them people to get them to understand that the situation you might have caused brought me here to de-escalate. Not escalate because I'm here, because some people get a little frenzy when they see an officer, rather they know or not that they're from the town. So we really need to have more functions where officers and the community are interacting with one another.
And that's a good position, and I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate that folks from the community can better identify with those folks. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, because sometimes people from the same community are the ones killing, abusing, not understanding homelessness, not understanding substance abuse, not understanding women or men of the night, because both men and women out there.
That's right.
And so, but it's good conversation.
Yes.
You wanted to dive deeper. So, what was your point that you were trying to make?
As far as having community functions and police functions where the community is involved, and people seeing and knowing who the officers are, and that the community should come out of their norm of, like, you know what, I might be somebody that's standing out here selling something, but I should know the officers in my community because I may need help one day.
So what was our experience when we had our NRTC and we had those community listening sessions? What was our experience? The community did not show up.
That's right.
Right.
Then when we had community sessions and they did show up, what did the community do most of the time? They argue and complain and offered no solutions.
Right.
When we did the cleanups, they didn't show up to clean up.
Right? It's the community's job to clean up. It's not the officer's job.
We are going into their community to clean up their community. They don't even show up to help clean up their own community. So, and I'm not saying all of them, but that problem persists.
Yes.
So I just think this is good conversation in terms of community awareness, that sometimes we need to be a part of the solution. So that's why I applaud Ronald Joseph, who is no longer a part of the problem.
That's
He's
right.
part of the solution.
That's right. Yeah. And that's probably what I was trying to go at, as dig deeper into us as the community.
What's helping you?
Thank you. See, he motivates you. He keeps you on that right goal. In other words,
Say that to me about that.
Yes. So if you care about your self-care and you're a part of the community, be a part of the solution and not the problem. So care about your self-care.